Claudia starts the book by pretending to be a character from a black and white TV show, which is totally normal behavior for a teenager. Janine interrupts and criticizes Claudia for being too loud. Complaining about your sister is also totally normal behavior for a teenager.
Argle Fump Book Review, Argle Fump Book Review.
This book was written by Peter Larangis. I think this is the first time a ghostwriter wrote both books which were published in the same month. Claudia overhears her parents talking about the Hatt family. They moved out of town 9 years ago, and they have some connection to an abandoned lighthouse. The lighthouse is very spooky, possibly haunted by a ghost. Marianne remembers the time when it was swarming with police, and her father warned her to never go someplace uninvited. Janine is having boyfriend problems, possibly because she prepares for her dates 3 hours in advance. That's way too much preparation, Janine. Claudia is jealous because she never has any dates, ever. She complains that Janine is acting weird.
"Since when did you become so boy crazy?" I asked. "Someday you'll know how this feels," Janine replied.
Ouch! I usually take Claudia's side in these books, but Janine's insults are extra sharp today. The love drama intensifies when Janine's boyfriend forgets about their date. How could you stand her up like that, Jerry? The sister drama intensifies when Dad announces the Hatts are moving in for a while. That means Claudia and Janine will have to share a bedroom. No! The Hatts have 3 kids. Steve is a hunky, brooding teenager who was almost expelled from school. Claudia instantly gets a crush on him, but he never talks to her. He likes Janine instead. I honestly never expected Janine to flirt with other guys behind her boyfriend's back. Talk about an unpredictable love triangle. Karen Hatt is 10, and therefore unimportant to the story. Laura Hatt is in the 7th grade, like Claudia. She's really mean. She complains that Claudia doesn't know any cool kids. She's got a point. In her last book, Claudia bragged about being queen of 7th grade. Continuity. When Laura does get a chance to talk to one of the cool kids, she tries to make herself look cooler by insulting Claudia over and over. What a jerk! Just for that, Claudia adds Laura to the suspect list. The Hatts still own the abandoned lighthouse. Mr. Hatt takes them there. Claudia is scared the whole time, especially when she hears a boy whispering to her. This happens a few times. The end of the book says, "It was the ghost!" Ooh, spooky! Old Mr. Langley arrives. He is furious that the Hatts have come back to town, and he spits at Mr. Hatt's face. In the subplot, the Vhoff comet is appearing soon. All the kids are excited. They play comets and aliens, but then they worry the comet will do weird things like make your hair fall out. Of course, Kristy plans a comet watching party because nothing can happen in Stoneybrook without Kristy turning it into some kind of carnival. Janine becomes the worst roommate ever. She leaves her dirty laundry all over the room. Gross, Janine. She forces Claudia to cover for her whenever her boyfriend calls, and she does nerd stuff during Babysitters Club meetings. The babysitters go through the entire house trying to find a quiet room for their meeting, but they get interrupted everywhere they go. The culprit sends threatening mail to the Hatts with letters cut out of magazines. This inspires the babysitters to investigate the mystery of what happened 9 years ago. An old newspaper article from the library says that a high schooler named Adrian Langley fell from the 2nd-story window and died. Mr. Langley gives more details. Adrian was locked inside by Mr. Hatt. Adrian jumped out because he had extreme claustrophobia. The girls ask why Adrian was trespassing inside someone else's lighthouse at night. Mr. Langley asks, "Does that matter?" Yeah, kind of. If my son was killed, I would want to know if he was killed on purpose or by accident. At the comet party, the kids go overboard in blaming the comet for random things. Kristy shames them by pretending to believe silly superstitions, like eating waffles for breakfast makes it dark at night. The kids realize superstitions are more like stupid stitions, and they stop complaining about the comet. In the lighthouse, Claudia finds a piece of paper. It says you have to spend the night in the lighthouse to be a member, signed Fred, with a picture of a gargoyle. Janine's new boyfriend opens the door when her old boyfriend comes over to visit. Oh, the drama. She recognizes the gargoyle as the one from the high school. Because of course they have a gargoyle at the entrance to the high school. A teacher explains the gargoyle is named Fred. 9 years ago, a gang adopted Fred as their mascot, but things ended badly. It takes the girls longer than necessary to realize the note is from the gang. They locked Adrian in the lighthouse as part of an initiation ritual. The culprit is one of the gang members who's trying to cover up what really happened. Kristy's brother Charlie shows up. He starts making out with Janine. No, wait, I'm just joking. Charlie is Kristy's chauffeur, as always. He takes everyone to the Langley house where they get a photograph of the Fred gang. They're interrupted by a fake-out scare. When it looks like the lighthouse is on fire, it's not. We end with a big party at the lighthouse. When Steve flirts with another girl, Janine becomes furious because she cannot handle cheaters. Janine is a hypocrite, and she is lucky her boyfriend Jerry takes her back. Claudia sees the culprit on top of the lighthouse. He tries to escape by climbing down a string of Christmas lights. He falls to the ground and publicly confesses everything. The end. Post-book follow-up. I thought this was a good book. All the storylines worked well. I especially liked all the drama with Janine. The mystery is adequate, nothing too great, but it's way better than the last mystery. Why couldn't this have been the double-length mystery book? My only real complaint is that it took too long for the girls to learn about the death at the lighthouse. They start asking about the lighthouse in Chapter 2, but they don't learn what happened until Chapter 8, which is past the halfway point of the book. In Chapter 2, Marianne confirms her dad knows what happened. She later promises to ask him about it. We never hear about this again. I wanted to see Mr. Spear discuss the lighthouse death. Claudia gets angry when Mallory assumes the comet is named after a man. It's named after a woman, thank you. Both the astronomer and the comet are fictional, which is a disappointment. They should have used the name of a real female astronomer, like the Astronaut Barbie book did. Overall, I love the book. It's pretty funny, and it has some scary moments. The stuff with Janine could have been done in a non-mystery book, yeah, but I like it the way it is. I give Babysitter's Club Mystery number 27, Claudia and the Lighthouse Ghost, a 9 out of 10.